welcome to Gameskooled. We're talking about Dark Souls 2 here. We're talking about why we play Dark Souls 2. Now, this game can be quite intimidating at first, but I think that it ends up being tremendous fun.
Well worth the challenge, too. It's, like you said, one of the most difficult games people say are out there. It took me like 70 plus hours to get through it my first time, but I never played the first one or any of the ones before it, and I really enjoyed it. So going through it once, I really liked it. I think it's a pretty awesome game.
I think it really is. Now, I've been into all the Souls games, from Demon Souls to Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 2 to even Bloodborne. And now, I want to make this video to show you why Dark Souls 2 is one of my favorite Souls games. Now, this is one of the games that I think that I could put the most hours in without having to replay my game because of how we should play and the combat system, right?
Absolutely. It's got the longevity, the replayability about it, and some crazy epic boss fights. I'm telling you, those things will blow your mind, and you guys are all going to see a little bit of that later on today on this show.
Yeah, the frustration will consume you. And so, to talk about longevity, this game has so many hours.
Oh man, it's got hours. It took me 70 plus hours just to beat this game on my first run through, and I didn't even find the pyromancy hand so I could get any of those spells. I didn't do any of the DLC. I just base game, barely got through it, 70 plus hours, and I know people can do it way faster.
Right, I mean, my first gameplay was 90 hours, but after that, my 10th playthrough was 50, my 20th playthrough was probably 35 or 40.
Man.
So, there's some things that you have to do to make the game last longer, which is become a priest, a mage, which gives out a lot more time. If you do both, you can do dark.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's probably it's more like a lifestyle than a game. There's just so many hours, 70 plus hours for me to beat the game, but 600, 700 hours for other people to beat the game. And you could be 600-700 hours into this game and still not even know the story, know why you're beating it. You know what I mean? We played with our buddy the other day, Dark Rupee, and he was telling me some stuff that just absolutely blew my mind about the story of that game, because he's taken so much time to read every item and every little description of things and know what bosses do what.
And you look through all the different item descriptions, and it ends up being a lot of story where you miss just going through the game, because I've got so many hours to the game. I don't know what this game's about, but I really love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I beat the game, and I remember talking to Dark Rupee and being I did this stuff, you know what I mean? I beat the game. I think I beat death and stuff. He's like, no, you got it all wrong. He kind of laid down some stuff for me, but I still don't know how spot on he is. I'm gonna have to go do my own research to discover the story and kind of see if my opinions line up with his, you know.
Well, I mean, that's what makes the game so long.
Yeah. Alright, and next we're going to talk about combat systems. I really like this game. It's 60 frames per second on PS4.
Well, yeah, on the PS4.
Yeah.
I started playing this game on the 360, 30 frames per second, and it ended up being pretty awesome at 30 frames per second. And I really liked how they wanted it 30 frames per second right off the get-go. I thought it was a really good introduction to a Dark Souls game at 30 frames per second. And it was a lot slower, a lot smoother than anything else that I had ever played.
Do you think when they first came out with the game that they thought maybe they should do it 30 frames per second because people couldn't handle it at 60 frames per second?
I think it's because the 360 couldn't handle the 60 frames per second.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I really liked it. I've only played it on the PlayStation 4, so I've only played it at 60 frames per second. I thought it was a pretty good looking game, considering I knew it was built for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox, but it was on PlayStation 4. So it still looked really nice. Not as nice as some of the newer games that the same companies have made. But it was good. I had a great time. The combat was really fun. I think the diversity in all the different weapons was really cool. I mean, I beat the game using a samurai sword, and at the end of the game I had this giant two-handed great sword and then this great shield, you know, and I turtled my way through the rest of the game at the end of it. But there was, oh man, so many weapons that I didn't even get to like have a good chance to try out. And they all have their own different movesets. They all have their own different like perks and things. You know, there's a couple times I used a halberd because I had nice range, you know, but it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, the halberd had great range, but you could use short range like daggers, and you just sweep forward, and it was nice, man. You get a lot of damage, a lot of quick move sets, so that each slice does a poison damage or bleed damage. I thought that was really important to the gameplay.
It was just a lot of fun. So many different choices, so many different ways to kind of like keep you on place, experiment with different things. It was great. I think the balancing with all the weapons were pretty good. I didn't hardly do any PvP. The only time I really did was when I got invaded, and I'd have to say most of the time when I got invaded, I got trolled. You know, people were toying with me, but it was my first playthrough. So I'm kind of like the guy that has to worry about those black knights standing on the bridges that say, "You will not pass. You might as well jump off the bridge."
No,
you're not getting past
there's
me.
no way.
You
know, as soon as you get through your third playthrough, it's like, okay, I know this guy. I know what he's trying to do. I know his play set, and so you can decide what type of weapon you want to use against him. And at that point, maybe you want to use the +6 weapon you have instead of the +9 weapon you have, which is really nice. I love the way that they have used the weapons to where you can upgrade it to a +10 and end up with an in-game weapon.
Any weapon in that game can become your in-game weapon, which is another reason I really love it. So fast, smooth gameplay, you know. A huge diversity in weapons.
Absolutely.
And a strong kind of like PvP play style the way they did it. I like how it kind of is random encounters. So
totally. I mean, that's what makes the balancing so great. You engage on a PvP level, and it's all balanced. But also you engage on a PvE balance, and it is right there with you. I mean, as long as you've upgraded your weapon, you're prepared for anything that's ready for you, even though you don't know what's gonna come up. And that's what I love about the game.
Yeah.
Epic boss fights! Alright, so the boss fights are epic!
I'm telling you, they are crazy, dude. Every boss you fight is probably 50 times bigger than you and ready to rip your face off.
And 300 times more gratifying than you could ever imagine.
I mean, they will kill you. You're gonna die.
Right. But that's what makes it gratifying. Because if you don't kill them the first time, you learn what's gonna happen, and you'll end up beating them fist to fist.
Just like almost any enemy you fight in any Dark Souls game is you're gonna die from them the first couple times you fight them, but once you kind of figure them out, after a while they're almost kind of easy.
Yeah, it's a total learning experience. In fact, like you said before, it's a way of life. Yeah. It's a lifestyle, man.
Dark Souls is a way of life, man.
Yeah.
Put in the time, do the grind. I don't know.
Whoa, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, that was.
Alright, so each boss is unique.
Yep.
Yep.
They're all kind of got some cool stories behind them if you look into their lore. I don't know a lot about most of them, but I have seen some small things about others that really kind of perked my interest and was like, wow, there's a lot more to this person than I even thought was going on. You know?
Right. And if you look at your items, the description in them will describe a lot of boss battles as well.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, catch you next time on Gameskooled.
Get schooled.